If you think you cannot get government's buyer attention because you do not have past performance, you are making the same mistake most government contractors make. There is a step that happens before many contracts are released. That gives you a chance to get on government's radar. And most businesses completely ignore it. It's called a sources sort notice. So in this video, I will show you what sources sort notice is, why it's important, how to respond the right way, and mistakes to avoid while responding to the sources sort notice. Let me explain sources sort notice with an example. A government agency has a requirement. Requirement means the agency wants certain kind of work done, and the agency is looking for capable vendors to do the work. So the agency posts a summary to do market research and find capable vendors. These notices are sources sort notices. But here is the important part. Sources sort are not a request for quotation, not a request for proposal. So you are not bidding and you are not submitting your prices. More importantly, you should not expect an award. Also, you will not be paid for responding to sources sort notices. But wait, here is the question you should be asking. If there will be no award, then why should I spend my time to find and respond to sources sort notices? Well, there are few advantages of responding to the sources sort notices. As a beginner, responding to request for quotation and request for proposal feels daunting. So, responding to sources sort can be a great way to have your first interaction with the government buyer. It is an effective way for companies to find current agency requirements, ask questions, and provide innovative solutions to the requirements. To sum up, sources sort creates first agency buyer interaction. And remember, first impression is the last impression. Sources sort is a great way to find new government buyers. By responding to sources sort, you are telling the agency what product or services you can provide, what your capabilities are, and how your company can be a potential vendor to fulfill an agency's requirement. Another advantage of responding to sources sort notice is to limit competition. Here, you need to understand the rule of two. The rule of two directs agencies to set aside contracts for bid by small businesses when there is a reasonable exception of obtaining offer from two or more reasonable small businesses that are competitive in terms of market prices, quality, and delivery. The rule of two underpins the small business contracting policy known as contract set aside, through which the government limits the competition for contract award to small businesses. A decision that a contract is categorized for certain set-aside business is made in the early stage of the procurement process. And a buyer may use your response in crafting the statement of work or specification sheets. So you can influence the solicitation by providing your recommendation, highlighting your strengths, and telling which set aside your business qualifies for. For example, if you are a small business with NICS code 334111 and you are responding to sources sort for the same NICS code, if two small businesses respond to that sources sort notice, that will be categorized for total small business set aside when the request for quotation shows up. This is how sophisticated vendors use the rule of two by responding to sources sort to limit competition by categorizing set aside as per their advantage. Another advantage is you can highlight what unique strengths your company can provide while your other competitors in the market cannot. But only highlighting the strength is not sufficient. You must also explain how these strengths are beneficial for the agency's requirement. Let's elaborate with an example. You have a waste removal company and your company have an environmental certification. You see a sources sort notice where the government is looking for waste removal services. Your response to the sources sort must include the benefit that certification will bring for that particular government need. And even if that incentive was not enough, sometimes those responses lead to a sole source award. It means your company has been awarded with the contract without any competition. Or in another case, the agency may put your name in the list of qualified vendors that may receive solicitation that the agency does not post publicly. So, I highly recommend vendors to respond to sources sort notices. Now let's go to SAM.gov and find sources sort notices. We will click at the search and we will click at contracting and then we will click at contracting opportunities. And on the left side, we will select the notice type as sources sort. Now you see there are 3,660 sources sort notices available right now. I have a complete tutorial of how to search SAM.gov. You can watch this video by going to my channel. We can use the filters to narrow down our research. I will be narrowing down my research for the next code 333120. And if we click enter, we see there are 13 results for the sources sort notice. If we look at this one, Toolcat sources sort notice. Now we open that. Its title is Toolcat Sources Sort, brand name or equal. It means the government is looking for a specific brand, or you can provide an alternative brand that can perform the same function. Due date is 13th August and its published date is 29th of July. There is no solicitation available at this time. This is not a request for quote or solicitation or an indication that the contractual commitment will exist for this requirement. So this is just for the research purposes. Here is the requested information. Interested parties capable of meeting the requirement are requested to respond to this notice, identify their small business status regarding their NAICS code, and please provide the following information: company name and address, UEI and cage code, company size by NAICS code, small business type if there's any applicable, and the point of contact along with the name, telephone, and email. This is the point of contact, this is the email, the phone number, and this is the salient characteristics. So the government is looking to buy a product and they are looking for the qualified sources. Now we look at the specification sheet. It's the requirement for utility work machine, the snow plow, snow blower, forklift. And these are the minimum specification that must be met for the product that you must be delivering. If I will be responding to the sources sort, I will be providing my company name, address, UEI, cage code, NAICS code, small business type. I will identify the point of contact in a one-pager capability statement and send it to the contracting officer at the given email address. This is how you respond to the sources sort notice. But remember, not every sources sort notice is same. Each sources sort notice is unique and different. There is no standard format. Some sources sort are simple and require one-pager capability statement, like the one we already discussed, while others are detailed ones and require technical capability and management processes. Let's get to the example of sources sort notice that requires more detail than a capability statement. This is the sources sort notice. Its title is Adaptive Reconditioning Program. If we go into the document and we open the document, you see there's an introduction. Issuing a sources sort notice synopsis as a mean of conducting market research to identify parties having an interest in and resources to support the requirement. That is providing lead coordinator, supervisory program coordinator, program coordinators, operational specialist, instructors, mechanics, support staff, coaches for the adaptive reconditioning program. Is for the request for information purpose only, no award will be made. This disclaimer is given in here. NAICS code is given with a size standard of 16.5 million, and there are the additional requirements that you must fulfill. They are looking for the past performance of the company, if you have managed similar kind of work before, the technical skills that your company have, or the set aside standards your company qualifies for. You must also be submitting a subcontracting plan where you must ensure that you are doing more than 50% of the work. You are not subcontracting more than 49% of the work being done as per the requirement. Also, you need to provide if you have any certifications like women-owned set aside, 8As, or veteran-owned set aside. And also you must adhere yourself to the quality requirement. You must also acknowledge that. So if I would be responding to the sources sort, this is how my response will look like. I will make the first page a cover page. I will write down the date and the attention, the name of contracting officer, and in the subject, I will write sources sort response for notice ID. And on the first page, I will write the company information that will include company name, address, website, phone number, small business type, ownership type, SAM, UEI, and cage code, and the capability statement on the next page. And the capability statement would include the same numbering. The first numbering is past performance. The second number is past performance in the subject-wise pattern. For example, for contract 1, these are the details. For contract 2, these are the details. And for contract 3 and 4, we have the teaming partners and the subcontractors experience. The number 3, we will provide the list of all the subcontractors that we have. And number 4, we will write down the technical skills. I will break down the skills into 4 types: human resources, equipment resources, financial resources, and administrative resources. And number 5, I will write down the complete subcontracting plan, and I will describe how this plan will make sure that we are not subcontracting more than 49% of the work. In point 6, I will describe the small business statuses and all the relevant details that the contracting officers are asking for. And the point 7, I will demonstrate our company's ability to adhere to the facility requirements. Interested parties are requested to submit a capability statement to include their teaming partner subcontractor for not more than 15 pages. So I will keep the length to 15 pages and I will keep the font Arial and the size will be 10. Response date is 13 August. Response should be emailed to the contracting officer and the contracting specialist at the given email address. I have crafted my response in the same manner and in the same numbering that the contracting officer has asked for in the sources sort notice. This is very important because even if you provide all the information, but information is mismatched or the contracting officer finds it difficult to find, there is a high probability that your response will get up in a failure. So remember to make it very easy for the reviewer to find the requested information. Now discuss the mistakes. The first mistake is providing extraneous information and not staying focused on agency's requirement. Agency is not interested in knowing your company story. They are just looking for capable vendors for the specific kind of work. So your response must be very specific and it must provide information relevant to the sources sort notice. The second mistake is ignoring the instructions. Government often provides page limit to the responses. You must have to adhere to those limits. If a government is asking for a 4-pager document, I won't waste 1 page designing a shiny company's brochure. I would rather spend my time focusing on customizing response according to particular requirement status in the sources sort notice. Some businesses buy online templates to respond to sources sort notices. There is no standard template to respond to those notices. Each sources sort notice must be tailor-made and the response must emphasize buyer's requirement. Sending one generic template to all sources sort notice is wrong approach. Each requirement is unique, so your response must have to be unique and must be according to the buyer's requirement. Some businesses respond to sources sort that are irrelevant to their business, hoping that they might find another relevant contract from the same buyer. Do not do that. Do not overpromise. Do not respond to sources sort notice that you cannot perform. So that was all you needed to know about sources sort notice. And if you want to get more help in the federal contracting market, join our school community where we break down complex RFQs and we encourage people to submit compliant responses. Join our school community. Its link is in the description.